All right, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for tuning in today. Hey, it's playoff day for the Detroit Lions. And joining us, we've got After the Review Sports Peter. Peter, I get most of you out there have probably seen this before, have seen him on the channel. And Peter, why don't you go ahead, for those maybe who are unfamiliar, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me on, Dan. I'm After the Review Sports. I am a Minnesota Vikings fan by trade, but I really cover all sports on my channel. So here to break down what should be maybe the most interesting matchup of the weekend. Had a couple of snoozers yesterday, but I think tonight's going to be a real good one.
Well, Peter, obviously a lot of people are going to say coming into the show that, hey, we've got Nick Mullins, who lit up the Lions passing for the last couple of times that the Lions played the Minnesota Vikings. Sandwiched in between there, you did have a Dak Prescott performance that was very similar to what Mullins did. You've got Matthew Stafford. I get it's been a beat-up storyline this week. The old former quarterback for the Detroit Lions coming into town, never won a playoff game for the Lions, let alone hosted a playoff game. On the outside looking in, what do you think of this matchup?
I mean, there's so many things to talk about with this matchup. I don't think we've talked enough about how about a Jared Goff revenge game? I mean, Sean McVay kicked Jared Goff to the curb, and he's kind of like, okay, now I can get a little bit of mine. I don't think that's been talked about enough. But, I mean, we have just two totally similar teams, it feels like. Both high-power offenses can sling the rock, but kind of doesn't get talked about, maybe with Detroit, that they have to lean on the run game, and two defenses that are pretty good against the run and a little bit of Swiss cheese on the back end. So it feels like two very similar teams, one old and experienced and the other brand new to the dance.
And I couldn't agree with you more. I think these teams are more similar than most people anticipate. I know this week we've talked a little bit, like I alluded to at the start of the show, about how this Lions defense has given up yards to everybody, and they have basically throughout the season. The difference really has been the last month or so. They've been able to force some turnovers and get some sacks. Looking from your perspective as a neutral observer, looking at both of these teams, what do you think the Lions are going to have to do to limit this Rams offense?
Well, first and foremost, you have to stop the run game. They have to do what they've been doing all year. They're top two in yards and yards per carry, so they have to take out Kyren Williams. We kind of saw McVay really struggle in that Super Bowl against New England when they took away the running game. He didn't know what to do. Now, obviously, McVay is a different beast now. So if you can take away the run game, you have to get after Stafford. It's really that simple. They're not going to be able to cover Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua. Those guys are just studs. On a good day on defense, maybe you can slow them down, but you're not stopping those guys. So you really just have to get after Stafford. I think you need to light his ass up and try and make him to make a bad turnover, take a sack, because Stafford will take sacks, obviously take away the run game, and then make the Rams have to score 35, 40 points with the Lions.
Okay. Now, conversely, if you were to analyze the Rams defense, you got a Detroit Lions offense. It does appear that Sam Laporta is going to be a go. Looks like all the receivers are going to be healthy outside of Khalif Raymond. What are you doing on the opposite side to try to take away some advantages from Detroit?
So first, you got to try and slow down the two-headed monster in the backfield. Jahmyr Gibbs has come on as an absolute home run pick, which I think a lot of people thought he would. So you got to try and slow down the run game, force Goff to throw the football. Goff wants to throw the football in the middle of the field. Another guy, if you light him up, he's going to struggle at times with that. Focus on Laporta. I think you really, really got to focus on Laporta. The offense has come alive, especially in the red zone down the stretch. Going to Laporta, he's been the go-to guy. A couple of hits on him. You just don't know how healthy he is. Like, obviously, everybody is going to give it a go if they feasibly can. So we just don't know how bad that knee is. If he's okay, the Lions are in good shape. If he's hurt, I think the Lions might struggle a little bit here. So focus on Amon-Ra, take away the run game, and limit Goff's option overall.
So let's talk about how they're going to probably try to take away some of Goff's abilities. It seems like the teams that had success throughout most of the season were really around the Thanksgiving Day game. as far as limiting Detroit Lions. You saw Lions go through a little bit of a lull there offensively in their overall performances. Now, I've done some analyzation of it. I think if you've got two very mobile and athletic linebackers, it seems like with the Chicago Bears initiated, where they're going to have them play basically spy coverage over the middle of the field, take away a lot of the intermediate routes. That freed up, while those two are in zone, a lot of the secondary personnel to play man-to-man over the top of that. That caused the Lions, it seems, a lot of issues for a couple weeks. But those teams also had upfront pressure that could get after Goff. 4 guys that could do it without blitzing. I'm not so sure the Rams have that. The Rams, while they've rebounded, I think, a lot better this year than most people would have guessed going into the season. But a lot of that seems like schematics. And, you got a stud quarterback in Matt Stafford. You have a much better, stronger offense than most people think or would have thought at the start of the year. This Rams D, I'm not so sure this is going to be that dissimilar. I don't want to put anything out there and try to jinx anything, but I look at this game and I think there's some potential Detroit could win and win fairly nicely, maybe 10, 17 points. What do you say to that?
There's potential. First of all, Raheem Morris has done an outstanding job with this Rams defense. Like, this is not a talented group. They have 2 rookies that are the top 2 rookies in sacks. They still have Aaron Donald, but he's not quite Aaron Donald. I think that's like the biggest worry. You have to be like, oh man, does Aaron Donald just turn into 2018, 2019 Aaron Donald and wreck the game, which would be a real problem. But yeah, not very talented, not very good on the back end. It's a lot of rookies, no-name guys. So the real question, I think this is the biggest X factor in the game. Like you said, the Lions have a lot of potential to go score 35 points. And if you score 35 points, you have a very good shot to win this game if you slow down the Rams at all. What is Raheem Morris going to scheme up to try and stop the Rams offense? So it's the biggest X factor, I think, in this game overall.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think their secondary personnel especially, I see a lot of receivers able to significantly generate separation from them. Then you see a lot of breakdowns in communication. Now you add in a Ford Field home playoff game that I'm going to guess that might be, if it's not the United States record for loudest fields, I'm anticipating it's going to be up there in the top 5 of all time after today. And longer that game stays relevant or meaningful, or if the Lions happen to just push it to a blowout situation, I'm thinking communication for the Rams, especially on offense, is going to be real impossible from a vocal standpoint. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, that place is going to be rocking. Talk about 30 years of angst just coming out. It's the night game. There's going to be plenty of time for the fans to get lubricated and ready to go out there. So I'm sure that place is going to be rocking. I'm not super worried. I think, like you said, maybe more on the Rams defense communication-wise. I'm not super worried about the Rams offense. You got the headsets. Matt Stafford's been in a million environments that have been, raucous, especially on that Super Bowl run. So I think that'll be okay from them. But the longer the game stays where Detroit is scoring and scoring consistently, it is going to turn into a problem. Now, I do worry. I don't know, the Lions crowd, maybe if the Rams are keeping it close, it gets a little nervous down the stretch because the Lions are favored in this game. I think rightly so. They're favored in this game. But early, jump on that emotion and energy early, I think, is going to be big.
So we talk about the nervousness, the energy. Nobody's oblivious to the fact that this matchup is more prevalent because Jared Goff was traded from an LA Rams team that went to the Super Bowl for Matt Stafford, a guy who, at least at that time, while I think you could come up with a ton of reasons why he wasn't more successful or have playoff victories, et cetera, in Detroit, maybe mismanagement during most of his career here. But now that this moment in time is here, everybody's been talking about, we all get it. Hey, Goff is probably as human as anybody else. Your ex-girlfriend has arrived at your bachelor party with her new boyfriend. What do you think he's processing today?
I'm going to say it isn't an advantage for Goff to be in this matchup just because McVay did spend forever with Goff, and he's going to know what Goff doesn't like to do. Like, he knows what plays you couldn't call with Goff when he had Goff. Now, Goff obviously has developed, and he's been in Detroit now for a few years, so he can kind of figure out how to get this thing rolling. So maybe Goff has some things up his sleeve, but I do think it is a slight disadvantage to maybe neutral, hopefully, that it's not a factor, because if McVay's like, these are 6 things Goff really doesn't want to do and he really struggles when you can take these things away from him, that could be a big advantage for the Rams.
All right, now a lot's been made out of last weekend's regular season finale. We all are aware the Lions didn't have a ton to play for. There is some opportunity for them to have gotten the number 2 seed. They played all their starters. For the most part, they made it out without any significant injuries, but they did lose Khalif Raymond for at least this week, maybe next week. And then Sam Laporta, let's talk about this. It looks like the rookie's going to be able to go today. How big of an advantage is this for Jared Goff with the Detroit Lions offense?
It's big. I mean, it's everything. I would be kind of really, really on the Rams if Laporta wasn't playing, just because he's been such a valuable asset. I mean, maybe the best rookie tight end season ever, easily broke the catch record, 10 touchdowns, had an unbelievable season for them, and has been awesome in the red zone. Like, he's the go-to guy. But, I mean, it made sense. I was a supportive of Dan Campbell playing those guys. Maybe should have pulled them a little bit earlier than he did, because like you can't have the last game you step on the field be that Dallas nonsense where everything just kind of fell apart at the end of that game. You had to go out there, feel good about yourself. You probably needed to win that game just to say, hey, this has been a great season. We need good momentum coming into this game. So I did support it. I think he left them in a little too long because it looked like early, like Minnesota was just not ready to hang, especially on defense. Like anybody could have went out there and scored. So I will criticize Dan for that. But I think it was a smart move from a team standpoint.
Yeah, and I would say it looks like they dodged a bullet there. It looks like he's going to be able to go. I know we talked about it on the Lions Talk Live earlier this week that, to me, one of the biggest tells that this kid had some potential to play today was that on Monday, from what I was being told, he agreed to start doing knee draining. And anybody who's been in sports for a while, ever had that happen, knows it's not a pleasant experience. You are literally going to put a device into the knee and start pulling out or sucking out all the blood that's gone to that area to help with the healing process. It's something that can help speed up the healing process quite a bit, because you're going to extract all that recovery tissue, blood, etc., very quickly, which allows the swelling and such to go down. But once he found out he did that a couple times Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that led me to believe that, yeah, this kid and the medical staff believe if everything swells, the swelling doesn't continue, he's got a real chance, and it looks like he's going to play. So big props for Detroit Lions medical staff for getting that done. All right, now here's my biggest question to you, Peter, that if you're the Detroit Lions, if there are 1 or 2 defensive players, hey, on the Rams, we've got to account for all day long. And I get most people are going to probably say Aaron Donald off the bat, but also, like you pointed out, while he's still a very effective player, he might not be the game wrecker he was even just a couple years ago in the Super Bowl run.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like everyone's going to say Aaron Donald, he's not good, but I still think I've seen it. The problem is you have seen it in a couple of stretches here. The Rams weren't really on a lot of impact games. Like they weren't on primetime this year, really, so he still got it. Both their rookie pass rushers have been awesome for them. I think the defense, I'm not worried about a soul in the secondary. I'm not really worried about their linebackers either. It's you got to focus on the defensive line, which is good for Detroit because Detroit obviously has one of the best offensive lines in football. It did look a little weird, like Minnesota didn't get a lot of pressure in either of their games, but it felt like the offensive line wasn't as crisp as they were when they were humming earlier in the season. But I think they'll be ready for the challenge here. So just focus on the Rams defensive line. You got to be able to run the ball and slow down just any sort of pass rush which they get, which I think they're going to be able to do a pretty good job.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I think we're going to be able to get after him a little bit. And, Aaron Glenn, he's become a little bit of a Blitzburg coach, I think, over the course of this year. Start of the year and really the majority of this season, the Lions, they try to play more or less bend but don't break, a ton of zone coverage. They probably knew they just didn't have the personnel to get after the quarterback a ton. But I do believe there came a point where Aaron Glenn just said, we can let teams pick us apart all day long and get nothing out of it. Or, starting with the Denver game, we can roll the dice a lot more. We're still going to give up probably the same amount of yards. Probably going to give up, just as many big plays that we've been giving up all year long, but we might just generate a few turnovers and a few sacks and disrupt a few drives. That seems to have been the big change in the Detroit Lions defense that, for the most part, the last 6 weeks, has only given up about 20 points a game. We all know going into Dallas, whatever it was a few weeks ago, at home, the Cowboys tend to score close to 40 points. Lions were able to cut that in half and make it a far closer game than I think most would have guessed going in. So, Peter, let me ask you, going into this game, what do you got to do if you're Aaron Glenn to try to really bust up the Rams, catch them off guard, disrupt some of their drives?
I'm a big believer, like you said, the defense is bad. If you have a bad defense, my team included, just blitz, take risk, gamble. Because like you said, it's such an important thing. If you get a sack, you really can throw a drive off. If you force a turnover, obviously that's massive. So I like just the philosophy of lighting it up. I mean, Detroit secondary can't cover anybody back there, so you have to bring extra pressure. They can't get the pass rush with 4, unfortunately. I know we talked about the trade deadline where they needed to add another pass rusher. They didn't. So I think just bring it. Stafford has struggled with the blitz. Bring up exotic blitzes. Try and do something to slow them down. And if you get beat, you get beat. Like, what are you going to do here? The Dallas game was weird because there was like 1,000,000 yards in that game. Like you said, it was bend, don't break for them. Do I see the Rams doing that? Probably not, because I think they're going to be a lot more aggressive on offense because the Rams have like the worst special teams in football. So I don't think they're going to be trying to bomb 50-yard field goals. I might see a lot of 4th down, so maybe, Glenn needs to be aware of that. Like, okay, it's 3rd down. I need to make sure it's 4th and long and not 4th and short, where the Rams are going to be hyper aggressive.
No, I agree with you. I think you're going to have to play anytime you get around midfield. I do believe a lot of teams in the playoffs this year, and if you get past midfield, if they have, say, 3rd and 10, they're going to try to, on 3rd and 10, maybe get 6-7 yards to set up a 4th and 2, 4th and 3, just so they have the opportunity to go for it. Things have changed in the NFL in the last few years where no longer, if you're not at the 50, you're punting right away. Yeah, I think you're going to see, especially in an environment like this, if I'm in McVay, I'm on the road. I got a team that has a lot of ability to put it on us. If we don't try to match some of their scores, I'm probably going to roll the dice a lot more than normal. All right, so as you can see, Peter, we've got a few comments in here. I've been highlighting some of them, but want to take a moment or two now, like we normally do on Lions Talk Live, interact with the fans, try to get some conversations going here. So let's see, and I'll try to throw a few of these at you if questions pop up here. Robert G, here we go! Exclamation points! It's game day! Woo! Big Ric Flair, and I've got the uniform already, just so you guys know. Tonight, when we win, I will have that post-game show in the Ric Flair mode. Jason, good morning, all. It's game day. Expectations are through the roof. New Lions, new results. This is a resilient team. Time to take care of business. That's right. Let's hope for no overtimes today. Robert G, by the way, good morning, Dan and crew. Good morning to you, too. Big M, good morning, Dan and Duke crew. Need to pound the rock and no turnovers tonight. Lions win if they do this. Let's go. Woo! Sorry, I'm not trying to be too loud. Not trying to blow out anybody's ears. All right, Jason, I feel like Christmas is good. Question is, do we get the shiny Honolulu blue bike or the coal in the stocking? I'll go with the bike, 34-21. Peter, what do you got for a score?
Oh, God, I think it's going to be higher than that both ways. I'm thinking we're looking at a 31, 33, 34 game. I think there are going to be points tonight. But then when you think there's going to be points, it's always the game that scores. It's 17-10. That's how it always works in the NFL. But I do like a high-scoring affair. I think it's going to be a little closer than 34-21, but you gotta go with your team to blow them out.
Right. Well, hey, man, I've got us going 37-27. I got us winning by 10. We'll see what shakes out, though, obviously, in about, whatever it is, 13 or so hours. All right, Lions no fan, what do you got? Greetings and salutations. Dang, I wish the game was at 1 p.m. Yeah, I get that, man. Everybody's ready for this thing. Big M, there is that saying, win or go home. Well, the Lions are already at home, so their only option is to win. I like that. All right, Ed, good morning, Coach and Duke crew. Playoffs. I hope we look more like the Texans and not the Browns. Yeah, did anybody see the Browns just falling apart like that? I mean, they came in with that That defense just looked like one of the best defenses you've seen in the NFL in a while. Peter, what do you think happened in that game?
Well, that was a misleading stat. The Browns actually had the worst road defense in football coming into that game and the best total defense and best home defense. So it was like very misleading. That's like, oh yeah, the Browns defense is elite. I was concerned. I picked the Browns, but I was like, Houston's going to be able to score. I just thought Cleveland was going to be able to score more than them. And, one or two plays by Myles Garrett would have wrecked that game. But, CJ Stroud is a dude, and that's a real problem for the rest of the league moving forward.
Yeah, I'm glad he's in the AFC. And, man, if you're over in Carolina, you've got to be sitting there going, man, we gave up all these picks to move up and get the number one pick, and we didn't take CJ Stroud. Well, now you know why people lost some jobs over there. All right, Brett, good morning, Coach and Duke crew. I agree with Big M. We need to pound the rock, win time possession, win the turnover battle. Lions win 31-21. I'll take it. Robert G., I can't believe we still have to wait 12-plus hours until cook-off. The anxiety is killing me. Yes, and I will probably be getting a second Mountain Dew today just in preparation for the big game. All right, Quentin, greetings and salutations all. It's game day and about dang time. I'm ready for this to happen. Sorry, Stafford, you ain't winning today. It's unfortunate that Stafford's got to come down and more or less be the villain. The guy, him and his family did everything for this community, for the team for 12 years. But, Peter, if you're the Lions, do you do anything special for him to honor him, or do you tell the defense, hey, early in the game, you get an opportunity to take a shot at him, you take a shot at him?
Okay, I'm going to tell you, Lion fans, I'm going to tell the Lions organization, I know they're listening. If you cheer, if you play a video, I hope you lose this football game. You need to boo the ever-living hell out of Stafford. This is a playoff game. He is the enemy. There are no thanks for the memories. No. This is war, folks. You need to be brutal, ruthless. Sorry, Stafford, you got to take this, but no love today. No love, guys.
Somebody in the comment section earlier this week, I thought had a brilliant idea. Play a video during warm-ups of all of his pick sixes and stuff. I thought that was awesome. I think I might wait until maybe a point late in the game where you got it wrapped up. Then I might put it up there. I just don't want to add any fuel to any fire or give them any extra reason to want to come after you. But that's me. So
I agree with you. Do not totally ruin the Stafford Detroit relationship, but boo him, please, when they come out. All
right, Big M, so pumped for this game. Been a long time coming for us. It has, man. Lions will not let us down. We're about to see the Lions dominate with a statement win! Exclamation points. Detroit versus everybody, one pride. Agreed. Robert, the defense has keep pressure on Stafford, in my opinion, to shut him down. Agreed. Yeah, you got to take him out of his environment, make him, establish your dominance over him, get after him, give him certain options every route, but not every option on every route. Brent, I hope AG schemes some pressure opposite Hutch. That seems to be lead to more sacks. I got to imagine. I was surprised, as we talked about this week, that James Houston was not activated for this game, but I do think that's got to be a big tell that they believe Romeo Okwara or a couple other players are simply at a better level right now than James Houston, unfortunately, because I'm a huge Houston fan. All right, Boo. Dory Drank Dude crew. All right, Dory Drank Dude crew. Good morning, Slava Detroit. Glory to Detroit. I'll take that. And thank you for that, Boo. Matthew Greens and salutations. Good morning, everyone. Let's go Lions. Yeah, you're going to see it. I can only imagine what the tailgates are going to be like all day long around Ford Field. I got to imagine some of them are starting probably like 8, 9 a.m. And, man, you are going to have some fans incredibly primed by 8 p.m. tonight. Big M, I agree, Brent. Hopefully AG has been saving some different schemes just for the playoffs. Yep, and Peter, I'll ask you this. I thought, and I don't know if you paid attention to it or not, but I thought in the second half of last week's game against your team, the Lions really changed some things up, especially in the secondary. Now, I know they were trying to get C.J. Gardner-Johnson some reps, trying to figure out how to work in what appears to be a very strong 3-safety rotation. Did you see anything watching that game that you thought maybe Aaron Glenn was specifically trying to work on some things to get ready for the Rams?
I thought it looked like they switched to a little bit of man there. They got beat a couple of times, like that sequence where it went to Jefferson and right back to Addison there, where they kind of, I don't know, they tried to stick a man on Jefferson and Chase, and that obviously doesn't ever go well for anybody, so no problems there. I think they were trying to focus. I mean, it was a perfect opportunity. It's the exact same offense, and it's 2 wide receivers. So I do think that they were maybe hiding some things, but they were trying to feel out, okay, if we do this, what are the options? Which receiver are they going to rotate to? Because it's the exact same offense, essentially.
No, I think you're spot on with that, especially from a lot of formation schematics. Now, with that being said, obviously you guys have got some guys at the wide receiver spots and the running back spots. You compare your guys, your players at receiver to the Rams. How do you see them matching up, advantages and disadvantages for both the Vikings and also for the Rams?
Well, I mean, they're very similar. I would say Minnesota's are better. I'm a little biased, but, Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the league. Get over it, people. Tyreek Hill's awesome. Justin Jefferson's the best receiver in the league. Cooper Kupp's not that guy anymore. It does really help. They've kind of flipped. Puka Nacua is now the primary option, and Cooper Kupp is the number 2. So it's a little less from the top end, but there are open spaces. Like you said, Detroit's been running a lot of zone. We're going to see a lot of those deep in routes, a lot of those backdoor comebacks, which can hurt them. Like, it's a very, very similar team. The difference is LA is a lot better at the running back position than Minnesota is currently. So maybe they're going to be able to scrounge up something more on the ground, and that's going to open up the passing game even more. But it's almost identical team from a passing standpoint. LA doesn't have a tight end. We didn't have a tight end after Hawkinson went down in the first game. So they got to see a carbon copy. And Minnesota kind of brought all their passing game the last week of the season. So I think that really is going to bode well for Detroit that I don't think anybody's brought up.
No, I think you got some real good points there, especially when it comes to a lot of the formational similarities. Receivers, I would agree with you. I mean, Kupp, he used to be a year or two ago, maybe arguably in the top 5, top 2.
He was the guy. He was the guy.
But unfortunately, a lot of leg injuries, lower leg injuries at that have robbed him seemingly of some. Now, are they going to give him the knee, though? Is he just going to ball out today because he knows, hey, it's win or go home, and it could potentially be his last game in LA? That we'll have to wait and see. But I do think, to your point, it benefited the Lions a ton going into this particular game, having to face the Vikings 2 out of the last 3 games. All right, Robert. All right, all strength flexing on this one. Brent, how many tight ends do we have going into this game? Only 2, I believe. Correct, 2, because Mitchell got put on IR. You could argue that they could use Rodrigo as a tight end or Dan Skipper. So depending on how you want to look at that, maybe say 3 or 4. All right, Susan. Yeah, Brent, 2. Correct. All right, Robert G. If Laporta doesn't play, I would be completely shocked. Yeah, I'd say that there's no way Mitchell gets put on IR if they thought Laporta couldn't go. All right, Robert, local news showed him running some routes, and he looked pretty good. Yeah, he's going to – the big thing is the first time he takes a shot on it, how does he respond? But I'm going to imagine they're going to brace that thing up pretty heavily. That thing's going to be incredibly taped up. I know I used the joke about having Flex Seal on it, but they're going to do everything they can to protect it, man. All right, Trump's Bugs talking crap about the Lions. What a loser. It happens, man. He's a former player. He's probably not happy he got let go. He wants to put it on him, but to that point, I'm guessing Goff is going to want to put it on McVay. Stafford, I don't know if he's got quite the same level of disdain for the Lions that Goff would have for LA, just because, at the end of the day, Stafford got what he wanted. He wanted traded out of Detroit. He got to go over to LA of all places and win a Super Bowl. Yeah, life's not so bad. All right, Stephanie, Robert G. I think they must be very confident in Laporta playing, or Mitchell wouldn't. Yeah, have gone on the IR. Correct. All right, Ed, what do you got? There is a lot at stake in this game. Respect for MCDC, coaching jobs for Ben and Aaron Glenn, contract extension for Goff, and a curse of Bobby Lane that needs to end. Go Lions. And I'll say this. Peter, you know about the mantra, same old Lions. They win today. Do you finally get to, if you're a Lions fan, do you finally get to bury that thing and put it to rest?
Yeah, you're gonna feel good. It's gonna feel really good if you get that win. Now, obviously, you want to keep winning football games, And it's kind of a damn shame that if they win this game, they're going to Dallas probably, and that game should be in Detroit, as we all know. Won't bring up old memories here. But yeah, you're going to feel good. It's kind of like the Bills. Like the Bills finally ended that playoff bugaboo. They were in like a 20, 30 year. Cincinnati, the same thing. Get that win. Now Cincinnati turned that into a Super Bowl run. Do I think Detroit can do that? Maybe. Not likely. I think maybe more like Buffalo. You get through, you get bounced in the second round, and then you come back next year ready. Like, you need to experience. Very rarely do you see a one-time in team go on super deep playoff runs. You gotta take your lumps and learn in this league.
Right. Just so you're aware, so I'm picking for the NFC playoffs. Picking Detroit to win today, Dallas to lose to Green Bay to pull an upset in San Fran.
That has not happened. That has not happened.
Detroit hosts and beats Tampa Bay, and then you got Green Bay and Detroit in the NFC Championship with Detroit going to the Super Bowl. I'm a homer, so you know what? Take it with a grain of salt. But
I will give you the opposite of that. Do not wish for that, because imagine Green Bay coming into Detroit and winning the NFC Championship game. That would be the worst feeling in the world ever. You don't ever want that. As a Vikings fan, we do not want Green Bay. You say it like, yeah, we're going to beat the Packers, but that is like the worst of all fears. Like, you lose to the Green Bay Packers to go to the Super Bowl. So,
right.
I'd rather just go to San Francisco and beat the Niners.
Fair enough, man. All right, Stephanie, Trump's genius. What did he say? Trump, we got to win this game. All the ESPN and other companies have Lions losing. All right. Trump, a big M. Remember, Brent Skipper can be used as a blocking tight end. He even catches passes. LOL. They'll be okay. I think Sam Laporta is good to go. He healed fast, maybe not 100%, but will be productive. And I would say this, man, and we've talked about it on the show. You get to this point in the year, nobody's 100% if you're in the NFL, unless you're maybe a punter, a kicker, a non-contact position. But everybody's banged up. You're going to have to power through, and it's the playoffs. They're all going to power through. All right, Jess, greetings, salutations, all. Who's ready for some football? Question marks. A Sunday night party, yeah. And man, it can't get here fast enough. Brent Bug said he's finally playing with some dogs. Well, let him have fun with that. We're going to see what we can do over here in Detroit without him. All right, Silver Server, good day, coach and everyone. Tight ends, pretty, quote, tight today, I guess. I feel bad for Mitchell. Can't catch a break. Lions might have to go run and shoot if this continues. Yeah, Silver might be onto something, Peter. Lions are going to only have 2 available tight ends today. That would at least be my assumption. Maybe they can pull up a third from the practice squad. I know they did make a roster move yesterday, but even though they're going to have a couple options there, they're not going to be a lot of guys who have been on the football field in a while. You're Detroit. Basically just say, all right, Laporta is our only tight end. We're going to have to spread them out with our receivers. Or what do you do to help fight the fact that your tight end room is very banged up?
Like you said, I think you got to go Skipper and just go power run if you're going to do that, and then hit it off the play action. Because it will be a real problem if Laporta gets hit and he can't go again, if he goes out of this game, because then they're going to have to completely change the offense. And I don't know if they're ready. I shouldn't say ready. I don't know if they're capable of going to like empty, let's go 5 wide. We really don't have much options here. So I think be conservative with Laporta in your use of him. Don't put him into bad blocking situations. If the Rams know you're going to run the football, call him out. That's Dan Campbell's that is the ethos of Dan Campbell. We're going to run it right at you. That's it. So I do think that could be a problem if Laporta goes down.
Well, be true to who you are, and let's see what they come up with. All right, Mike, what do you got? Good morning. You know why Bugs has been let go from 2 other teams? Yeah, and now we do know that. Yeah, unfortunately, Bugs, I think a lot of people like him, but we also have talked about, it seems all season long with this guy, it just seems to always be something in the background mixing with them, and the coaching staff is a couple different times given him a moment of pause, said, hey, why don't you sit out a game or 2 and just try to right the ship? Fortunately, wasn't able to. You're probably seeing why they decided to move on from him. All right, Trump, if he got his first playoff win, and thank God he is with Real Dogs now, I don't think he even think he played. What a bad guy. All right, we'll go with that. Alec, good morning, Coach. On defense, we must stop the run and not play zone versus Stafford. I would agree with that. I think yeah, unless you're going to be blitzing out of that zone cover to get quick pressure, Stafford's going to probably carve that up. Blitz him and make him uncomfortable. On the offensive side, we must run and slow this game down, and then we can throw haymakers. Yeah, take your opportunities when you get them. Big M. Brent, I like Bugs, but but there was no reason to make those comments on his former team. Seems true to his colors with what he said. Now we know why he was let go. Attitude issues. Yeah, he's definitely someone with a chip on his shoulder, I guess you could say. And man, whether Pittsburgh or the Lions, this guy seems to burn up his welcome pretty quick, wear out his welcome, whatever you want to say. Pat, what do you got? Great salutations, all. We need this defense to continue doing what it's been doing the last month of the season. I would agree. Pat, we've got this. Okay. Southwest, I hope it's Donovan Peoples-Jones returning punts, not St. Brown. St. Brown is too important for the offense. Southwest brings up a point here, Peter. I think everybody in the league knows the Rams do not have great special teams. If you're the Lions, not saying they would, but would you put one of your premium players out there, someone like a Jameson Williams or someone of that caliber, just to try to get a bigger play on a punt or kickoff return?
Not until the end of the game when you need it. If you absolutely need it, do not do it. I don't ever want to put my guys, especially I'm never putting an Amon-Ra St. Brown back there ever, unless it's we have to have this and he can do something. But Amon-Ra's not even that kind of returner. It would be Jameson, but I would be worried. He does have a knack sometimes. I don't know. I would be worried about a fumble. I think play it conservatively. I think a good punt returner, you just take your yards, get 15 yards on a punt return. Awesome. Play conservative. Make the Rams screw up on special teams. Do not screw up on special teams yourself.
All right, we'll go with that. Jason, with Goff's obvious struggles under pressure, the O-line will ultimately determine our success today. And I think, Jason, you're pretty spot on. Anybody who's even been a marginal Lions fan or maybe a Vikings fan who's watched the Lions, understand that, Goff is, when he's got a clean pocket, he's pretty tough to beat. When you start getting multiple hits or pressures on him, he starts rattling, and maybe a little bit at a higher rate than, say, the average NFL quarterback. Peter, if you're over there and you're McVay, what are you doing to say, hey, we know this kid, we know what he likes to do and doesn't like. What are we doing to put him in the worst situation possible?
I'm putting everybody over the middle of the field. I'm taking away every in route, every crosser, every slant, and he's going to have to go dump the football. And I'm getting after him. I'm bringing pressure, make him have to throw a check down to the outside because his first look is going to be to the middle of the field, and I'm not letting him do it. Not letting him do it. He's going to carve us up. Goff, especially at home, is that guy. So I'm taking away everything over the middle of the field, make him throw something to the outside, and bring pressure, obviously.
Okay. All right. Trump, 13 hours. Woo! Smoke, let's go Lions. Smoke, them Texans spanked the Browns. They did, man. And, the Joe Flacco story, the revitalization tour, man, it came to a screeching halt. Silver Surfer, how good is Stroud and that staff putting him in the position to make plays? ? What happened to the Browns defense? ? Playoffs full of surprises. Nothing is scripted. Dolphins ended up catching a cold. Man, the Dolphins game, I felt bad for them, but I think most people knew going in this was going to be an incredibly difficult game for them, considering the weather factors and how their offense is really set up. That also being said, Andy Reid said, we're going to throw the ball. We don't care if it's negative 40. We're going to do what we do. What do you think about a coach just disregarding the weather and just saying, hey, this is who we are. This is what we do. Peter, what are your thoughts?
Well, you have Patrick Mahomes. That's a real easy fix. If you have a guy like Mahomes, you have a guy like Josh Allen, you can do those things. You can't do those things with Tua Tagovailoa. Probably can't do those things with a Jared Goff or Kirk Cousins too much. It does really help when you have that. I kind of figured they might be able to, they might throw the ball a little bit, but they did run the ball really effectively. Pacheco was a grinder last night. And now all of a sudden it feels like, oh boy, here come the Chiefs again. Did they just get this thing figured out? Now they struggle in the red zone, and they've struggled all year in the red zone. They have to fix that. You can't kick field goals against good teams, but probably going to Buffalo next week, and I can't imagine the weather's going to be dissimilar to what it was last night. And they seem like they can play in that weather. They look really, really acclimated to that kind of situation.
I agree with you. I thought they handled it incredibly well. I know Travis Kelce, he surprised me. He hasn't had the best year of his career, but man, he had some drops last night.
Yeah.
It happens. Big M, anticipation is killing me. It is. I mean, I think everybody on this show and people not even here. I mean, a lot of people, I know somebody mentioned it earlier. Can we just move the game up to 1 o'clock? And unfortunately, you're just going to have to wait a little bit longer. All right. The smoke, KC killed the Dolphins. No tuna was consumed. All right. Southwest, there's such a thing as wanting something too much. I just hope the Lions aren't wound up too tight. Both teams are going to be, man. And you know what? It's playoff football. Trey, what's good? All question mark. Can't wait for tonight. Going to start cooking to get everything ready around noon. All right, you're giving yourself some time, man. Going to spend some real time getting that food ready for tonight. Let's go Lions. Yeah, 100%. Everybody is all in on this game. It's been too long coming. All right, Trump Bugs is Waterboy made a good bench warmer last night for the real players. Could be some truth to that. Matthew, there are 4 players to stop. Williams, running back, Kupp, wide receiver, Nakua, wide receiver, Robertson, wide receiver. They are the ones who account for the most of the Rams scores. Yeah, I would agree with that, Matthew, 100%. Big M, all home teams have won so far. Detroit will follow suit. Let's continue that trend. I like that trend. Real quick though, Peter, before we move on to the next one, let me ask you about that. I mean, we all talk about home field, especially in the playoffs mattering. Do you think it's bigger than most people realize ultimately?
I think it's becoming less and less, actually. I think more and more teams are like professional. They have all the studies, they have all the metrics, they have all the numbers. It feels like teams are more, comfortable going on the road and playing some games. Now, early mismatches, you're going to have some problems. Like, I really do think Green Bay is going to struggle massively in Dallas today on the road. Rams, not that kind of team, obviously. Super Bowl experience, I don't think it's going to be for them. But the more that home teams win, I get more nervous as a home team. It's like, all the home teams can't win. One of these, like 2 of these road teams are going to figure this thing out. Now, if the Packers win in the first game, you're feeling okay. Like, we're going to win, and then, the Eagles can win, and we're all good. It's all good. We're all good here. But I am one of those superstitious guys. It's like, oh, man, 3 home teams have won. We're another home team that's playing. That's not good. Somebody on the road has to win.
All right. Well, let's hope we continue the trend tonight. So, all right. Mike Green, salutations, coach and Duke crew. The longest day of the year. You are not wrong there. Let's go Lions 28-24. Woo! Robert. I'm sure they're going to be tight to start. I agree with that, yeah. But I do believe they will settle in after the first score. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to watch the play calling for both teams at the start of the game because, it's going to be, if I'm the Rams, and especially if they have to take the opening kickoff, man, that place is going to be so energized. I just think it's going to be a tough environment for them. Now, the one thing they do have going for them is you've got some real veteran and playoff experience coaches or players. So that might help a little bit. But, let me ask you there, Peter. If you're the Rams, you win the opening coin toss. Do you take the ball or do you defer?
I'm deferring. If I'm the Rams, I'm absolutely deferring. If I'm Detroit, I'm thinking a little bit more about. Normally, I would say absolutely put your defense out there. The building is going to be rocking, but I don't necessarily want to be in the situation where if Detroit is tight tonight, which it very much is on the table, that they could be tight early, where you're chasing a lead. Like if the Rams go down the field and score a touchdown, and now you're chasing 7 points to start, that could be a bad situation. But if I'm the Rams, stick my defense out there, try and get a nervous offense, go 3 and out, and get the ball back. But yeah, that's what I'm doing if I'm the Rams. I'm sticking my defense out there first.
All right. Let's see. Southwest stop the run and make Stafford uncomfortable. I think that's the formula to beat the Rams tonight. I like the way you're thinking. Trump, blitz the doo-doo out of Stafford. I like the do. Yes. Robert, that is the formula. Agreed. Big M, Southwest, I agree. Getting Stafford's face all game is a big key. Agreed. Brent agreed. Southwest, Donovan Peoples-Jones as a punt returner would be fine by me also. I think that he might be a real strong contestant for it. Trump, only 7 likes. Yeah, I can't see it on my screen, so I'm going to have to trust you guys on that one. But if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Trying to make that push to get to 5,700. If we can do that by tonight, hey, that'd be great. I think we're about 85 away, but don't hold me to that. Also, don't be afraid to hit that thumbs up button. Robert, smash the like. Smash the thumb. All right. Robert, greetings and salutations all. Today is the day we're going to be taking care of business. I like it. Big M, so excited. I forgot to like. Thank you. Everyone hit that like button. Yes, pretty please. Sugar on top or Mountain Dew on top. Hit that like button. Brent, surprise the Browns laid an egg. Yes, they did. I thought it would be a much closer game. Yeah, I actually thought they would win that game. And one of my good buddies is a diehard Browns fan. And I was talking to him before the game. Didn't hear much from him by halftime and nothing after the game. So I just kind of left it alone. I kind of figured I knew where he was emotionally. Southwest Line, I hope they give Goff enough time to make good decisions tonight. Yeah, that will be one of the key factors, won't it? All right, let's see. Steve, what do you got? Good morning, Coach. If the Lions were to put the franchise tag on Jared Goff, what kind of salary would they pay, and what would the salary cap sequences be? So that's a good question. And Peter, if you got thoughts on this, fire away. But I believe his salary would be just shy of 50. They could franchise him in back-to-back years, so it will change each year they do it. But it's going to be around 50, maybe just slightly less. And yeah, you'd be carrying the full burden each year. You got any thoughts on that, Peter?
Yeah, Goff. It's a really tough spot with Goff. Like, you're gonna have to pay him, kind of. But now Goff becomes the most expensive quarterback in the division, and you don't ever want to have that guy who's not like Goff is good. We know there are limitations to Goff as a quarterback, especially on the road and outside, but. Yeah, I would try and get him under contract for 2 or 3 years, especially like if this is your Super Bowl window, like or your winning window with this team, with this front office. You got to try and get him on a more team friendly deal because the franchise tag is just kind of really expensive to kind of like tag a guy again. Try and get a 3-year deal. Try and get it for 40. It's going to probably be about $45 million per, and you're not really paying money anybody else yet. Kind of. So I think that's what you're going to have to do with Goff.
Yeah, me personally, and I've got no justification for saying this. It's just my personal thoughts. I think they're going to wait until next preseason, kind of figure out what they have in Hendon Hooker. And at that point, they're going to have to make a judgment. You still have Goff for next season. After that, could you franchise him for the following year and then again the following year, which gives you 3 years? You could. But I really think they're going to take a long look at Hendon Hooker before they make a choice where they're going to go. That being said, Goff goes out, wins the Super Bowl, or just lights it up in the postseason. Then you might have to revisit what I just said and say, hey, maybe we need to look at re-signing him sooner versus later. All right, answer 14. Greetings and salutations, Dan and crew. Big Lions win 34-21. Woo! I'll take that, man, in a heartbeat. Jason, we ruined the Packers' chances the last game of the last season. We showed the league that we are here with the Chiefs' victory. That experience will bring us much success tonight with momentum going forward. I like it. Brent, win in the trenches, win the game. Agreed. Ed, question for everyone. If the Lions win the toss, do you receive or go on defense? Yeah, I would. Me personally, I'm putting my defense out there. I just want to try to get turnovers. Plus, I liked the idea of getting the ball to start the third quarter. That's me. Peter, what I know I asked you earlier, but change your mind?
I would lean that way. Normally, definitely put the defense out there. It would cross my mind to take the ball and try and go down the field slowly but surely. But yeah, I think I like getting the ball at half, let the game play out. The emotions are the emotions.
Go with it. All right, Robert. I have complete confidence in the offensive line to protect Goff. They have been great all season. Agreed. Robert, we have to remember to enjoy this. You got to remember to kind of enjoy what we're experiencing here. Big M, Dan, I would like to hear your player of or players of the game, offense, defense. So my opinion, players of the game for us today, I'm going to go with Aiden Hutchinson on defense. Aiden Hutchinson, Jack Campbell, and I'm going to go with Romeo Okwara. I think those three are going to be responsible for a lot of the pressures you're going to see on Stafford. Campbell would be from a delayed blitzer standpoint. But Campbell's play, and I know we've talked about it a little bit in the last week or two or something like that. If you go out and watch him, you watch his reactionary times. It's increased a ton. So what does that mean to me? He's no longer thinking about what to do on plays. He's just out there playing. He's got enough experience. He's comfortable. And I think because of that, you've seen his play elevate. Hutchinson, we've talked about it, I think, with about 2 months left in the season, that he looked burnt out to me. He looked fatigued, tired, lost his, step, his pep, whatever you want to say. But in the last few weeks, or I will go a month, they dropped his snap count from 90% of the defensive snaps down to 70. And I think in recent weeks, you've seen a lot of that pep return. You've seen his effectiveness return. And that's also in part because of Romeo Okwara's presence on the D has started to rise and improve. Offensively, I'm going to say this. You want me to pick out a couple guys? It's going to be the offensive line, because if they don't perform well, the Detroit Lions offense is not going to go anywhere. And I'm thinking, Peter, what say you?
I agree. Hutchinson was pretty much doing it by himself. I think that's kind of why he wore out. I think that's going to be a big one. Alex Anzalone always making plays. Like, he just feels like he's always in the mix with it, kind of that linebacker. And that's going to be big in the run game. You have to stop LA's run game. I think everyone's kind of focused on the pass game, but if LA can run the ball, this game is over. Like, there is no shot for Detroit if LA can run the ball. So you have to make sure you stop this run game. So I like those two guys on defense. Offense, I go with the Sun God. Amon-Ra, just like, he's been kind of on a tear, very slept on as a elite wide receiver in this league. I think he needs to have a big day, and it's going to be those critical spots. 3rd and 7, 3rd and 4 in the red zone. If Laporta is just not 100% today, he's going to have to carry the burden for the offense to separate from the Rams.
All right, going with that. Trump, go on offense first. Okay. Robert, in my opinion, I'd go on defense and set the tone. All right, I'll go with that. Brent, I think we should take the ball if we win the coin toss. Fair enough. Southwest, the streaming quality last night on Peacock for the Dolphins-Chiefs game was awful. They should refund all subscribers. Yeah, I could tell it wasn't the best, but it is what it is.
I think the weather may have had an effect on that. I think the tech was probably not doing great in that weather.
That could also be a factor for sure. All right, Mr. Natural, game day live. Go Lions at 100%. Hopefully you're having a good one there, Mr. Natural. 9 drinks. Woo! Game day, 100%. Robert, I believe the keys to the game is our defense. We need pressure, them smother Stafford on offense and take care of business. I like it. Trump, run the ball and run some more. All right, fair enough. Southwest, this is the game that makes or breaks AG's chance of becoming a head coach. There could be some truth to that. Mile Marker, good morning. Today is question mark hopeful. All right, I am hopeful, 100%. Big M, Brent at Brent, winning in the trenches is definitely the key to the game. Must win the trenches. Robert, totally agree. Robert Yankee, okay. Robert Walling, can't wait until game time. Who knows McVay the way Goff does, so probably had some things to tell the defense to look for. Agreed. Yeah, he's probably got some ideas. Southwest, all the chatter is about Matthew Stafford, but it was Goff who was kicked to the curb by the Rams. I just hope his mind is right tonight. I'm going to imagine he's going to be laser-like focused. Trump, run the ball. First half, wear them down. James Stafford is prone to throwing picks. Yes, and pick sixes. And now it is an official show of Lions Talk Live because Donkey Kong is here to tell us Super Bowl or bust. Agreed. Greetings and salutations, Coach. The Lions will win the game tonight if we can win both sides line of scrimmage and establish a running game and put pressure on Stafford. Agreed. Mr. Natural. Lions need a good, quote, old-fashioned team victory. I'm down with that. William, LOL, I'm so nervous I can barely sleep. It's going to feel like Christmas morning to a lot of people, man. Trump, too many weapons to cover. Lions win. I like your thinking. All right, Southwest, they must tackle well, limit yards after the catch. Rams get a lot of yak guards. They do. Southwest, or excuse me, Silver, I hear Darth Vader breathing. It happens. All right. The mile marker, I haven't heard much about. Montgomery seems to me Montgomery is a strong weapon, but I've not heard much about him. Is something off? No, I just think he's Gibbs is getting more of the attention just because of his breakout ability. But Peter, what say you? As far as these guys going, is there a reason why you think people aren't hearing more about David Montgomery?
Yeah, because Monty's kind of more, he's an older back. He's an older guy. Just Jahmyr Gibbs is just so much more explosive, so much more of a weapon. And it was Monty all early in the season with the red zone, especially. They now trust Gibbs to give him the ball in the red zone. So Monty's going to get his carries, but I do think it has gone more into it's Jahmyr Gibbs' backfield, and we're not so much a two-back system anymore.
Fair enough. We'll go with that. Southwest Line, I like the approach they took in the Broncos game. They started out throwing the ball to establish a run. I expect the Rams to load the box. Yeah, and I got to imagine Detroit's going to see that most matchups in the postseason. All right, William, I bet Ford Field is going to be crazy. It's going to be make hard for the Rams offense. Yeah, communication, and they're going to have worked on that all week. I get their nonverbal communication. But that being said, if you all of a sudden have to make some adjustments in the line of scrimmage, and especially the closer you get to one of the end zones, man, it's going to be real loud in there where you can see some false starts or delay of games. All right, Southwest Lions had a good preparation for this game, playing against tough defenses. Yeah, and some similar offenses. Burns, run the game. The run game and turnover battle will decide this game. But that's like every playoff game. Yeah, 100%. Take care of the ball and keep the ball away from the other team. James Silver Surfer, LOL. All right, Big M, no way. The Lions let us down tonight. No way. I like it. Jesus, Justin, what do you got? Goff knows McVay too. This is also true. Dr. D, the infamous one, Dr. Detroit. Good morning. ATG and everyone thought Cleveland was a lock-on win. This is true. Dr. Detroit, Laporta is needed. And I think you'll see him out there, Dr. D. 9 drinks, 2 hours pregame finally. Maybe we can push a little bit here. Big M, may the force be with you. May the force be with you as well. Mike, everyone thought KC would win 1-2. And they did. Yep. Jesus, Goff knows McVay's tendencies in play calls. McVay's play calling haven't changed much. No, but they've changed their offense some, but that happens every year with new personnel. James, we will rock you. I like it. Make it happen. Jeffrey Reviews, we just played them in the Super Bowl year and they barely beat us. That is true. The year after they won the Super Bowl, we went to LA, and yeah, Lions made it a lot closer game than most anticipated. Let me ask you, Peter, from a Goff standpoint, the fact that you've already played them once and in LA, does that help take away some of the anxiety or anything like that?
A little, but it is a playoff game. Like, everything is just so ramped up. Now, Goff has a lot of playoff experience. Goff went to a Super Bowl. Goff quarterbacked a Super Bowl team. Everyone kind of forgets that stuff, and they're going to need that experience. Goff has good experience in the playoffs. I don't know how much it matters because, the Rams weren't that good last year. Like, it just wasn't a good football team from a whole. So I do think it's going to help having Goff to lean on because the coaching staff doesn't really have that experience either. So Goff is like kind of your guy. And now if Goff folds, it's going to be a real problem. But I think Goff's going to be able to hold up and kind of guide guys through those tough times.
All right, Mike, Dog, Fave, and OU both 1-1 and 1-1. All right, ATG Stafford on fire. Let's hopefully we can put him out with an extinguisher then. Maybe Hutchinson can leave that brigade. Dr. Detroit, Frank's Red Hot Sauce Stafford. Fair enough. All right, ATG. Is Steelers game still postponed? I believe so, yeah. It's been officially moved to tomorrow. Cloud, what do you got? Is it 8 p.m. yet? Let's go, 100%. Dr. Detroit, LOL, says they postponed the Chiefs Dolphins game. Did they postpone? No, they did not. And yeah, that one did not go well if you're the Dolphins. James, hit them with your best and smartest shots. I'll take that. Yes. Phil, hey, greetings and salutations, guys. Same to you, Phil. Yeah, I knew where you were going with that, Philly. All right, Eric, 38-28 Lions win tonight. Mike, 21-24. All right, who you got winning, though, Mike? All right, Dr. Detroit, I have us winning by 1. Hey, 1 is the only number we need. We just need 1 more. All right, JC, y'all about to have a good game. I'll take it. John King, hope AG doesn't forget Stafford is a comeback artist. Yeah, let's see. You get the lead. You need to keep the ball out of Stafford's hands as best you can. JC, I'm a content creator too. Well, good for you, and hopefully you're having a good one. If you are a Cowboys fan, which I'm guessing you are by the name, wish you guys nothing but luck tonight, man. Don Bird, Detroit 30, Lambs, Lambs 26. I'll take that. I like that. ATG, Detroit has Mr. Weapons, but game is a toss-up. I'm not confident in either team. Hey, as long as we get the home field advantage, I'll take it. Mike, game number 276. All right. Don, ATG, up early. Lions bring blogs. All right. Dr. Detroit, Lion B. Phil, did you see the weather in Buffalo? I know it's frightful outside. How about that if you're in Buffalo? All right, Don, ATG, worry about 40 wine. Oh, boy, here we go. ATG, good morning, Don. Yeah, all right. Big M, agreed. Don Burr, the infamous one, Detroit versus everybody. Damn buddy. Bang, bang, Lions gang. Fair enough. ATG, Donnie, chill at being disruptive. All right. And just so you know, Peter, this is a normal Lions Talk Live experience. Boo, Texans had 2 pick sixes. Let's do the same. Yeah. And hey, Stafford, did say when he got drafted, he would lead the Lions to a home playoff victory. Here's his opportunity. Throw some picks in, some touchdowns. ATG, why you up early? Hey, this is just part of when we get up and on the air. Mike, 92 points through 2 games, average 46. I'll take it. James, chant Goff, Sewell. Fair enough. Don, because I'm a Lions fan. All right, fair enough. ATG, Texans. Yeah, good. Yeah, they looked great yesterday. Don, Flacco looked 55 last night. Yeah, man, he had a couple bad throws, and it really changed that game. All right, ATG, stop it. Oh, boy, you guys are having a moment here. All right, need Steve-O too. All right, we'll see what we can do. See if somebody can make a call for him. James, move D lineman around. All right, Mike, it's a 4-2 split, 2-1 today and 1-0 Monday. Fair enough. Yep, as far as the games, yeah. Detroit, Detroit versus Packers next week, 2 home games at Ford Field. Fair enough. ATG, hopefully. Mike, hoping CD has a couple of picks, including a pick 6. That would be something, wouldn't it? Because, man, again, you get turnovers. I mean, let me ask you, Peter, having Gardner Johnson or CD back, we all know the player he can be. He's obviously been out basically the entire season. Is he a bit of an X factor for this team?
Yeah, it has to be. We know the secondary struggled to stop people anyway, so it can't be any worse. And he has made big plays. Like, he struggled down the stretch, struggled last year at the end there with Philly. So, I think he is a big X factor today, and he's got a lot of playoff experience. Another guy with a lot of playoff experience.
Yes, he does. All right, ATG, Cooper was hurt. Yes, he's been hurt a lot in the last few years. Don, Jamari Gibbs is going to have a game today. Kid will be used all over. Yeah, and he might be. He might be slot receiver, punt return. I mean, who knows what. No, Caroline, Hutch needs another 2.5 sacks. I would take that. Yeah, if it means he's being disruptive. James, move 4-man, 6-man, and sometimes 7-man rushes on different plays. Now you're talking my kind of language. Hit the other team's quarterback early and often. All right, Don, man, it's freezing outside, 8 degrees, but feels like negative 12. Hey, you're talking my kind of weather, man. Mike, 2 fave, 1 dog today, 2 unders, 1 over. Fair enough. John, go Lions, beat LA, 100%. Justin, let's flipping go Detroit Lions. Yeah, flexing on them. Mike, 505, Penn and A versus Donald rematch. Yeah, they did get into it a little bit in LA a few years ago. Roy, let's enjoy this, everyone. Let's go Lions, 1,000%. East-West Sports Show. Man, it's freezing. It's 40 degrees in SoCal. What? It's 40 degrees in Southern California? Man, it is the end of times, man. Mike, go Lions. ATG. Don, I don't that website and have you buy stocks. Okay. Don, Donald versus Ragnar versus Jonah Jackson. More likely. That could be true. James, -3 here in Coldwater. Burr. So Peter, what's the temperature looking like where you're at?
I think we're at 25 down here in Central Texas. Yeah, we're 25 feels like 12 down here, which is pretty cold for us.
Yeah, for Texas, man. That's man. I hope you guys don't lose power. Aaron, hello, Coach. Go Lions. Same. And good morning to you too. James, sorry for Bugs because I liked his enthusiasm. This is all about competition and the best play. Yeah, 100%. All right, guys, we've been going on a little bit over an hour, so we'll give you a couple more here, and then we're probably out the door. And then don't forget, we will have the post-game show, even though I know it's going to be a late one tonight. Don, ATG, I haven't promoted it here. Okay, all right. Justin, we're going on a playoff run. I like the way you're thinking. Thomas, what happened today happens, but Lord help us if we lose. All the people, to all people of Stafford, Hell Night will have a new meaning in Detroit. Go Lions. Yeah, Hell Night in Detroit. Dr. Detroit, 18, minus 18 here with win. Yeah, not warm. Not warm at all. ATG, okay, but understand he's my dog and I'm down, brother. Okay. A couple more here, Don. We will just be fine, people. Yep. Mike M, which team throws out the first big gadget play of this game? I'm thinking the Lions. Paul D, Detroit Day is finally here. So excited, but nervous. All right, guys. I see that we've caught up fairly well in the chat, but obviously we're not going to get to everybody. Sorry about that. I'm going to leave you with just a couple of things here. Great moments are born out of great opportunity, and that's what the Lions have here tonight. One game. We played them 10 times. They might win, 6 or 7, but not this game and not tonight. I really do think Detroit's going to go out there and put it on them. I'm going to go 38-28. Peter, I know you offered your score earlier, but you want to take a moment and repeat it?
Yeah, I'm thinking if I have to pick, I'm going to go 33-31. And I'm going to go with the Rams, I think. I picked the Rams earlier, but I'm feeling less. Everyone is picking the Rams. Everyone is picking LA. That makes me like Detroit a lot tonight. That makes them likes me. I like them a lot more than I did on Monday. I think this is a really good spot, but there's just a couple of bad numbers out there from a matchup standpoint, like Rams on offense versus Lions defense. There's some real glaring 4th and red zone Rams offense, Lions D 29th in red zone. I think that could be a big thing there. So I'm going to take the Rams. I'm going to stay true to my pick, but I really, really do like the Lions tonight. They've been so great all year. I definitely think they can win this game.
All right. Thanks all for tuning in for today's pre-game show of Lions Talk Live. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're about 85 away from hitting 5,700. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you would take a moment of time in doing so. I would be very, very thankful. If there is some sort of breaking news today, which I highly doubt, but if there is, I'll try to get on the air as quick as possible. Otherwise, you all take care. Enjoy your day. And we'll see you on the post game Lions Talk Live. See y'all.